Wars, hurricanes, floods, death, conflict, elections. Oh, so much is going on in the world today, and we might wonder how to move through it to create that peace that we all desire. Today, our guest is Eva Charlotte Larsson Ruiz. She is an acclaimed facilitator of transformation. She is the former partner of Don Miguel Ruiz, and she has some really beautiful insights and life experience to share today about how to be peace with the madness. Join us to find out more.
Soul Nectar Show, the Soul Nectar Show. You're invited, delighted to discover who you are. Anything is possible if you believe. So join us on this beautiful journey. Soul Nectar Show. Soul Nectar Show.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Nectar Show, that show where we talk about all things essence, where we gather around the campfire and we share our stories of connection with that which is greater than us, the big mystery beyond the veil, to those synchronistic moments that lead us inexorably to a deeper understanding of who we are and what we came here to do and be and see and feel and express and breathe. And I'm your host, Carrie Hummingbird, as you know. I love to have these conversations and bring my friends on the show so you can gain some peace and wisdom from their wisdom and their life journeys. And me too. I love to have these conversations so I can also regain my sanity in these moments where I feel insane and I feel swept up in the drama. I feel swept up in the energetics and what's happening on the planet. And it's kind of hard to escape because we're all one and we're all part of the same planet. So we can't really escape it. So we just got to figure out how to be with it and move through it. And, you know, this was on my heart when I invited my dear friend who's with us today, Eva Charlotte. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited, Carrie. It's been a long time. Way too long. I love being here with you.
Some of you who have been watching this show for a really long time remember when Eva came on and we talked about the eye of the hurricane and her own experience of overcoming Lyme disease and coming back into wellness. And we also talked about living as a peacemaker even before that. So we've had some great juicy conversations, and this is going to add even more to that conversation. And yeah, so my inspiration was, it's kind of crazy out here. Like, it's insane on the planet. And I'm doing my best to be a way shower and to be a light keeper and to move through my own journey in my personal life and in the community I've formed, and to be, a mountain of peace in the middle of the storm. And yet it is really kind of crazy out here. And it's hard to know, like, sometimes how to be with it and how to move through it. And so I thought I would invite Eva with us because Eva actually has really deep roots in transformation and is actually an acclaimed facilitator of transformation. She has been an integral part of the Ruiz family. If you guys know, I love the Four Agreements and Toltec wisdom, and I've been steeped in it from my own teacher, Heather Ashamara, who has, introduced me to all these wonderful teachings and have helped me, to guide my life. But, Eva is like part of the family, and she's an amazing facilitator of her own right of transformation. I mean, think about this, 25 years of creating, leading, and participating in hundreds of events, thousands of individuals over 40 countries, and bringing that facilitation of transformation into all those spaces, inspiring deep and lasting change through her presence, her wisdom, and her ability to allow existence itself to flow through her undistorted. That's key, undistorted, because we're all these, we can have, presence flow through us, but it's usually distorted by the smoky mirror, by our idea of ourself, our self-concept, our attachments, all of these things that, when we talk about shamanic wisdom and shamanic healing, it's all about being the hollow bone. So just letting spirit flow right through you and just doing and acting and speaking as instructed, by this Holy Spirit that wants to move through for the benefit of all. And sometimes you do that in a kind of backlashes on you and you go, what? You know, and this has been happening to me recently. And so really kind of recentering and knowing like how to be that conduit of spirit, how to be that conduit of, you know, greater intelligence that doesn't operate the way that we've been conditioned to operate, doesn't like think the same way we think, and yet is guiding us towards a whole new level of consciousness that's going to be better. But in the meantime, it's messy. It's really messy. So I'm asking you to come and make some, you know, I don't expect like a bow on the mess. Okay. So I just want to say, like, I'm not expecting it all to be wrapped up and packaged in a nice little pretty package with a bow on it. I let go of that desire a long time ago, but I am asking you, like, with all the things going on in the world, and last week we heard about the astrology of the United States from Hillary Harley, who talked about how the United States itself is in a 240-year Pluto return cycle, which we don't experience because we don't live that long, but the country does. So we're in this like massive Pluto goes, here's all the crap that doesn't actually match what you said. Here's all the stuff at the bottom of the barrel. And it's intense, you know, it's intense to witness all that, not only in our country, but in our lives and in our hearts and in our family systems. And we're being asked to wake up. We're being asked to really become accountable and to also follow spirit, to let go. And I couldn't really think of anybody better to, you know, tap into the wisdom of Eva. How do we do this? Like, what's your starting point? And you guys, if you want to know her whole backstory, like, please go back and watch the other 2 episodes, because we go deep into Ava's wisdom in those other 2 episodes. But so we want to just jump off here. But if there is something you want to share about yourself to kind of catch people up on why I'm so enthralled with you, please do. And then we can go into the conversation.
Okay, well, that might be a good starting point. I guess what comes to mind is that many years ago, you know, when I was in my 20s, which is now 40 years ago, early 20s, I had reached everything I had been told I needed to accomplish in order to be happy. I had a fantastic career in computer science. I was a system analyst and computer programmer, making tons of money, traveling the world. Computers were brand new, and I was riding the wave when it was fun and all of that. I had a fantastic life. Anyone who saw me would see a strong, independent, capable woman who had already made it. And I was 21. I was miserable, Carrie, miserable. And I would see discrepancies and backstabbing and corruption and greed, and like none of it made any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. And I would try to change or speak up wherever my life took me, and bam, then I would be out. I was just miserable. So my desire for something else was early on. I could see that this is not working. What we have is not working, and it's serving the few at the expense of everyone else, and it's never going to work in the long run. So my quest for something else started, and there's a long journey, and it took me to different experiences and different people, some extraordinary, like studying with Don Miguel, and a very deep personal apprenticeship that changed my life. So grateful for that. It took me to skydiving accidents where the parachute, the reserve failed. It took me to Lyme disease, and, you know, ups and downs. Life happens. But through all of these experiences, little by little, I became more self-aware, more conscious of what we all really are. And it was so prevalent in your initiation here, your what you have been saying so far, of how we think of ourselves as human beings in this life experience. And of course we are that as well, but we're so much more. And my journey has brought me to a place of knowing myself as a life itself, much more so than Eva, Charlotte, Lotta. I go by many names. And that changes everything. When I live life from that point of view, it's so much easier to stay in the center of the hurricane. Life will happen. We have no control over that whatsoever. I shouldn't say it like that. We're co-creators, so in a way we do. But I can't control a hurricane or a war, but I can bring me. And how I bring this, the human and the spirits that I am, life itself, how I bring that will change this moment. And the more clear I am, the clearer my vibration, the clearer my mind, the higher my frequency. We're all tuning forks. So if I step into a room, I bring my vibration, and that vibration affects everything in the room. And the cleaner I am, the stronger the vibration. So my journey has really taught me a lot about being really aware of what's going on here and taking responsibility for that first. It has to start here. And I personally believe that's the only way we will change anything, and the world is showing us that now.
Yeah, I think about the hurricanes we just had. I think about Hurricane Helene and the damage that was done. And we talked about this a little bit last week, is that the work done by Masaru Emoto is really powerful to me. Messages in the water, and the realization that we're made up of 70% water, and that the winds, our words, affect the waters. And not only in our bodies, but like you said, in our whole environment. And so as we move into greater power, I feel like power is a conversation that we're in, because we're shifting from power over, like you were talking about, the power over system where certain people have all the power and everybody else is sort of at the mercy of the system, into inner power, right? Like knowing that you are life itself, that life is moving through you, that you have the same power as everybody else. When we realize that and we shift into that different relationship. And in my own experience, along the way of that full realization are a lot of hiccups, you know, where we kind of dancing out of this paradigm of separation, out of this paradigm of believing that we're powerless, or victim consciousness, that we're on the triangle of disempowerment, the victim, the rescuer, the perpetrator, and we want to get to the center, like, or even just off of that whole paradigm, just leave it behind and go, no, I'm none of that. I've experienced it. And along the way, we get more and more power, but that power, like you said, it gets more impactful. And I really want everyone to hear this, because the more that we practice our spiritual connection, the more that we do that dance of inner mastery, the more important it is that we don't play those crown games, you know, that we don't leverage our power over others or to negatively impact others. We've got to be really extra mindful about our energy and how we show up, right? Because we do have more impact.
Just a reflection around that as a human being. If I want to change anything around me, we tend to talk about goals and taking action, and it's very hands-on. If I want to move a cup from one side to the other, I have to, like, it's a physical thing. And we're trying to push our will on someone to make things go the way we want it to go. It's very hands-on. And you can create magic that way, like really create amazing things and build companies that either do good or not so good in the world. Absolutely, that's a powerful way to express and create. The other aspect of our way of being here is that we're also energy and spirits, and the world of matter, these things, form, things, it's really malleable to life itself, because that's where it comes from. So it's malleable to it. So by being really conscious and aware on a much deeper level than this, not through thinking, not through physical action, but awareness and intent, not intention. Intention is a desire in the human mind, but intent, the energy in motion, the intelligence and energy, power moving together for a desired vision. So if I take the desire for peace, for instance, as an example, I can walk in peace rallies and sign petitions and do all kinds of really good work. That's powerful. However, if I'm walking in a peace rally and I'm upset and frustrated with the government or this person who has done that, and there is all these frustration or victimization or any kind of vibration like that in me as I'm walking in a peace rally, it's actually an act of war, because I'm bringing anger, hatred, frustration, division to the peace rally. So yes, you can do all of these things. Be really aware of how you're doing it. Where are you coming from when you're doing that? What are you bringing vibrationally as you're taking these actions? So by comparing walking in a peace rally with distorted intentions, it's not clear. You're not completely aligned in every aspect of you. You are not being peace as you're walking in a peace rally. You have that on one side. And then you have someone who's sitting at home doing nothing when it comes to traditional ways of looking at it, but completely being in the vibration of peace, being at peace in him or herself with whatever is going on in the world, including war and hurricanes and COVID and all the things that happen that are horrendous. But you can walk in the world with all of that going on and still hold yourself, your attention, your awareness in that place. That place is always in all of us, always. It never goes away because that's what we really are. It's not something we seek to become or connect to or bring in or find. It's what we are. Our attention is just on everything else. We get hooked, like you were talking about earlier. You get pulled by the craziness that's going on. And then all these emotions and thoughts and stuff are swirling. You're pulled out into the hurricane, but the center of the hurricane is always there. So the person who can hold him or herself in that vibration is bringing more peace than the one walking in the peace rally, as I see it. That's the way I understand it. And that's my experience in my life. When I think, of course, I get pulled. Everyone does in one way or the other. It's just a matter of how fast you can shift yourself back to, oh, yes, this is what I really am. Doesn't take away the pain or the circumstance, but your experience of it is completely different because you are now looking at the circumstance through the eyes of life itself, not through Eva. So when Eva is looking at the disaster of the hurricane, my heart just cringes and it's painful and it's sad and I feel for all these people and there can be all kinds of stories. You don't necessarily have those any longer, but you can have all kinds of stories on why we now have more hurricanes and maybe there's someone to blame for that and bum, 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 bum. All of that can happen because I'm allowing myself to be pulled by the event. The event is real. Yes, it's real. And the pain is real. And the disaster is real. And yes, we have to take action to help all these people. But I don't have to come from a place of freaking out, being angry or afraid. That's not necessarily. I have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Where am I coming from? Doesn't change the circumstance, but where am I coming from? So when I look at an event like that, the hurricanes, from the point of view of life itself, it's complete perfection, which is really weird from the human perspective. Those are completely different. There is nothing, if I use the word God or life, either way, it doesn't really matter. There is nothing that is not God. If God is omnipresent, how can anything be outside of that? Everything is God. That includes murders and hurricanes and disasters and viruses and politicians, regardless of which side. They're all part of perfection, of God, of life, of unity. Nothing is outside of that. So from the point of view of life, this is beautiful. Life is unfolding beautifully. And yes, it's chaotic, it's painful for the human, in the human experience. If I break a leg, it's painful. Absolutely, it's painful. Oh my God, it's so painful. And if I break a leg, not when, if I break a leg, and I'm experiencing this intense physical pain, I have a choice in that moment. Will I feel sorry for myself, or will I be with the pain, deal with the action that needs to happen to support my body? Actions need to happen, and maybe I need to rush to the hospital or whatever it is. Take action. But am I doing that from a place of fear, victimization, why me, and all the stories? Or can't believe this happened. Okay, now what? How can I be with this, with all of my presence and ability to just hold myself in the center of the hurricane as I face what life just brought me? If I can hold myself there, and that takes practice. But when I can hold myself there, it's almost like the pain is less, Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
I had this. Sorry.
It almost seems like that is, well, the longer I walk this path, the more it seems up until now as if those are like initiations, or those are opportunities to
Yes.
practice
Yes.
holding the center, and then just being a witness to what are the stories going on in my mind that are telling me that this is awful, this is terrible, it shouldn't be so, and I don't want this, and I'm trying to avoid this pain because I want to control everything so that I don't get hurt, and I can see some terrible consequence coming, and I don't want to experience it, and so I'm like trying to, fix it.
Exactly.
Instead of just going, life is moving. Life is moving this person I love. Life is moving me.
Mm-hmm.
How can I hold my center when things are falling apart in my perception? And let's face it, everything's falling apart right now. I mean, we're in the time of the great change.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's going to fall apart. I guess part of me thought we were just going to skip off into heaven, just like, and I think I wasn't the only one. But in order to move into the next phase, we got to deconstruct what came before, so that we come back, right, to, like you said, the center, the truth of us. We're in this massive return to the truth of us. Yes? Feels like.
Yeah. Yes. It's so interesting, though, because I feel in a lot of the transformational, spiritual, all of those different groups, there's this misconception, I know I had it for sure, that the more aware and awake and transformed and enlightened I become, the more in control I will be, the less I will have issues and pains and all of that stuff. And in my experience, it's the opposite. I feel everything. The more embodied I am in my physical being as life, as spirit, the more I feel everything. It's the opposite. It's so much more intense. And my ability to be with what is so much bigger. And if you look at pretty much any old ancient tradition, at the core of it is the ability to be with what is, accept what is. instead of fighting it, trying to fix it, avoid it. From a human perspective, we're so emotionally driven, all of us. Pretty much everything we do is because we want to feel a certain way. We have a home so we can feel safe. We make money so we feel we have a sense of control and can control our environment. We live very much like that, outside in. We're making sure that our immediate environment is in a way that makes us feel the way we want to feel, which makes us incredibly vulnerable to external circumstances.
Yeah, like a lot of people stayed in their homes when healing was coming through.
Yeah.
And they told themselves, this isn't going to be that big of a deal. My home will protect me. We've never had a storm like this in these mountains. It's all going to be okay. And it was really the people that got the spidey tingle and said, I'm getting out of here. Like, feels like something's coming through here that I need to, for my own safety, move.
Yeah.
But the attachments, right? I think about my home. My home is architected to create a context of safety for me so that when I'm here, I feel safe and I can, safety is necessary in the transformational process, right? To open up those places that we defend and protect, like to get in there and open them and have them feel comfortable enough to be seen, like those wounded aspects. And yet there's also a way that life likes to inject a little shock here or there to like go, get out of your bubble, get out of that, and that is like, that's the part that's hard to reconcile sometimes, is that for me, is that a lot of what my desire is to feel safe so that I can open and release. And yet I also see that these shocks, these sort of conflicts or abruptness or things that happen, they also serve a purpose, and to not take it personally when they happen.
Well, as you say, it's feeling safe serves a purpose. And when you create your environment in a way that makes you feel safe, or whatever you have created to feel in whatever way, nothing wrong with that if you do with awareness. So if you know that I'm creating this bubble for myself because I'm in a deep process and I'm clearing out stuff, and I really want to create a safe space for my human, Carrie, so she can do that work. So we can do that work, life and my body, Carrie, we can do this work together in this bubble, but you're aware it's a bubble. If the bubble bursts, if a hurricane comes through, or a flood, or an earthquake, or a recession, something happens and you don't have your home, you don't have your bubble, you're still okay. If you have awareness that it's something I'm creating for myself for this purpose, I'm not dependent on it. That's completely different. But we create these bubbles, these circumstances, because we want to feel a certain way, and we're so attached. So if it falls away, a loved one dies, or you lose that job or your home, your world will crumble, because your whole identity, your whole existence is wrapped up in those circumstances. And as you say, we're in a time now where everything is changing. And I personally think it's a really good thing that it's changing. These exact circumstances are challenging and not necessarily fun to walk through. But in a bigger perspective, if I use my own journey as a comparison, my life experience have been a mix of extraordinary, fun, beautiful life experiences and really painful, challenging ones. And the painful, challenging ones are the ones where breakthrough has happened, where I released stuff I didn't need any longer and just moved into a completely different way of living life. And humanity is going through one of those growth spurs right now, as I understand it, where everything that is no longer serving us as humanity as a whole will be in our face. And the faster we can accept that this is going to change, we collectively, we have decided it's time. We have to, or we're not going to survive as a species. We have to change things, and it will come up. And if I, as an individual, can understand that this is a necessary growth process for humanity, and accept it instead of fight it. So this is happening. It comes back to accept what is. This is happening. So how can I be with it in a open, accepting way? Doesn't mean not take action. Absolutely not. But you take action from a place of support and acceptance and compassion and willingness, and what can I do, as opposed to I have to fix this. This is wrong. Why it's happening? No, 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 no. Completely different energy. And I really believe that when take wars, it's an extreme example, but none of us wants war on this planet. But if I'm fighting war, I put a lot of attention on war, which feeds the fire of war. It feeds the energy of war. If I instead can bring an energy of peace in myself as I'm holding war in my awareness, whether I'm watching the news or this or that, I stay in the energy of peace. I'm bringing the energy of peace to war, as opposed to more war to war. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like there's things that I deeply care about. For example, I care about people's freedom. I care about people being respected. There's values that I hold that are important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when I see groups of people somehow motivated to go against the values that I am really feeling in my heart, that can inspire me to feel angry, right? That can inspire me to feel like, what the heck?
I have a question for you in that.
But it's true. But see, then my work is to notice that, like, where am I, like, why am I feeling angry? Because I know anger is my not self. So like, why am I feeling angry at that? And what can I do to transmute that within myself so that because usually I'm judging them, that's usually what it is. And
But,
so like, how can I not judge it? How can I go, well, that's just, I still haven't totally figured that part out, because to me, it's like obvious, certain behaviors are low vibrational and other behaviors are high vibrational, and it's obvious to me, but I sometimes don't have compassion for people moving through those lessons at the lower, the sort of lower vibrational space, like creating a war or taking away people's rights or inserting themselves in other people's dreams. Like those things, I don't always have compassion for that or presence for it.
yeah, no, it's challenging. So you started out with saying certain values are really important to you, and personal freedom of choice is one of those, right? Does that include the people that does things you don't want them to do?
Oh, that's like another, right. I guess that I have this feeling like we're all sovereign beings. And so like there should be some little freeway runner in between each person, so that they don't like negatively impact other people, and everybody just go along in their journey and be mindful of everybody around them. And then like a lot of people aren't mindful of that. Maybe they don't have the awareness of that. But
So do you think that
I see it.
do you think things happen to people that they're at some higher level have not said yes to?
That is a really good point.
When I was in training, not that that ever ends, but when I was very intensely training with Don Miguel, and things would happen in my life that was clearly directed by him. He made a choice that affected me in a way I didn't want to. And he would look at me with it, those shaman eyes. It's a very specific way of, it's very specific. And he would say, honey, I'm not doing anything you're not asking me to. And my mind will go, why would I be asking for this? And my inner knowing would go, yeah, I know that's true. I wouldn't necessarily understand it, but I could feel the truth of what he was saying. But yes, this is what I'm asking for, because I am asking for personal freedom, for awakening, for spiritual growth. That is why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's with Miguel in this case. And he would answer that calling. And my human self, Eva, would not necessarily get it at all. Not in that moment. But a week later, a month later, a year, 10 years later, like, oh my God, I get it now.
You actually just helped me get it, because I'm a healer. I do shamanic healing with people. I do that kind of mentoring. And so many times I'll get an insight or I'll get a directive, right? Like, take this action. And my human self goes, ouch, why would I do that? And, like, I don't, because my human part of me doesn't want to hurt anybody. Like, I don't want to say anything that might make them upset or like make them feel cast out or rejected or, like, oh, that's terrible. And because my human self goes, like, I don't want to do that. And then the guidance is just really clear. It's like, nope, this person made a choice. They're at the verge, and I'll get the insight. Like, they're at the verge of a really important soul lesson. They need this now. Okay. And I'll do it, but then that clarity that you just expressed, Don Miguel has, is like, part of me is still going, oh, this is like, I'm commiserating almost with them. Like, yeah, this is really awful. But then I'm between worlds. I'm not fully in. I'm not fully in yet on the spirit part. Like, this is what spirit's calling for. This isn't Carrie calling for this. Carrie doesn't like this at all. This is what spirit's asked Carrie to do. And I'm doing it because I listen to spirit.
Like you said, you don't want to make someone feel a certain way. You can never, well, let me ask it instead. Can you make someone feel in any way?
No, but I can definitely help somebody see who they are actually being inside, right? Not just what their mind wants them to believe about themselves, but like, this is what I've noticed, is it reveals in people who they actually are. And that is hard for them to witness. And I have compassion for that. I have such compassion for it.
Oh my God.
Like, ouch.
Yourself is not easy.
It's
Seeing
hard.
your human self, your distortions, your lies, your unwillingness to see things, and your selfishness. I did not see myself as selfish when I first started training with the family at all. And now looking back, oh my God. Not in the traditional selfishness that this is mine and you can't have it. Not like that at all, but
like selfishness, like
how I want to feel is so important that I'm navigating the world so I don't have to feel uncomfortable. And through that, I'm being selfish, for instance.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, I guilty as charged with that too, because of course I'm setting the frequency, right? Like, I feel like as teachers, we attract also people who are working down the same pathways and things that we're working on a lot of times. And yeah, I mean, in my life, I've been really resistant to allowing, as if I can allow it, right? That's so arrogant to even say that I could, like, I'm allowing you to be the way you are. Oh, like with my son, and just, it's been such a journey of acceptance that whatever I would perceive from my human eyes has no idea who this person actually is at a soul level. Like, and I've had many people tell me who he is at a soul level. To grapple those things together in my human mother's mind has been so challenging. And to realize I don't own this person.
Yeah.
I don't own
And
him.
he
He's going to
may
do
be
what he's
what,
going to do.
exactly. He may be what these people have been telling you. He may not. Either way, it's his choice. Whatever he does with his life, you can guide and support, but it's his choice.
Yeah,
Even if he makes choices that are painful for him.
exactly.
Guide and support. You can guide and support him to make different choices, but ultimately it's his choice.
And I realized recently that it's my fear of pain
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that keeps me trying to control and, you know, ameliorate things so that it won't be so painful. And I find myself sometimes with students too, like I want to, like, okay, I'm trying to reveal, like, yes, we have to learn the lessons. We can learn it all the way down here, or we have other options.
Yeah.
We have other options. We don't have to have it be so dramatic. We can.
We don't have to learn through pain. It's still very effective for humanity, but we don't have to.
And sometimes that's heated and sometimes it's not. And I have to let go of attachment.
A question though, so with your son, for instance, you're saying you want to avoid pain, and I'm assuming you meant for him. Would that also include you're trying to avoid pain for yourself?
It's my pain I'm trying to avoid. I
Yes.
mean, I don't want to feel pain if he ends up not making it. You know, I don't want to feel that pain.
That's the kind of selfishness I was not aware that I had when I started that journey. Because that's selfish. You're
Yeah.
trying to
I'm trying to change him so that I
Yeah.
won't have to feel pain.
Exactly. You're trying to love and support him in a way where you feel better.
I like it better like this. If your life
Yeah.
looks like this, I'm happy.
Yes.
And if your life looks like that, that makes me really scared. And then I'm not feeling happy.
Yep.
And
That
it's
kind
like,
of self-awareness is super important.
I mean, I haven't worked through it yet. I don't know what to do with it, but I just know I'm aware of it and I'm doing my best to let go and also hold myself like, oh, Carrie, this is hard stuff as a human. Woo!
Yeah.
You know, like really loving my mama self.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's been interesting straddling the line of like, can I even get clear enough? And this is, you know, a question I have with myself a lot of times is, can I even let go of attachment and get clear enough in the moment to be the hollow bone? I'm practiced at being the hollow bone for lots of people that I care about, but I don't like care about, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like really discerning. Can I get to that place of discernment that's actually true at the highest levels? And can I accept that? And a lot of times I can get what I perceive as closer to that because it hurts. That's kind of how I know. It's because it's asking me to do something that doesn't feel good to me, doesn't make me feel the way I want to feel.
Right. I still come back to that question. Can you make anyone feel anything?
I can only acknowledge that I have feelings going on inside of me, and that's driving some of my desires for the outer world to be different so that I can feel more the way I want to feel. And I'm also aware that those things don't need to be connected. Like there's the outer world happening, and it's really my choice I don't think it's my choice to feel it initially, because I think that just comes on, but I feel like it's my choice to stay there or to transform through it. So I can either stay with it or I can move through it into a new place. It's up to me.
So if I have a hard message to share with someone that's really challenging for me. Maybe I don't feel that I have the right to say it, or maybe I really feel I have the right to say it, but it's uncomfortable to say it. Whatever is going on in me, I can have all kinds of stuff going on in regards to having to speak a message to someone. And one of the potential situations you were talking about is if the message I have to deliver to you, Carrie, in a session, for instance, I think, believe, I'm sure that that's really going to be uncomfortable for you. So now I'm struggling with it. My responsibility, as I see it, is to really be clear about myself and my motivation. Why do I want to deliver this message? Is it really clean reflection for that person, you in this case, or do I have some hidden agenda within myself? Like really being clear what's going on here. Once I'm clear that this is something I need to tell you, I can tell that with the utmost kindness and love. No tension. No trying to hide, and no trying to control, and no pushing and making you wrong. Like none of that. Like really neutral, almost like kind and coming from open heart, love, embrace, my highest, best wishes for you. If I can deliver a message clean like that, I've done everything I can. I've done my half. Our beings meet halfway. I've taken responsibility from my half. Once that message is out and it's being received by you, wherever that lands in you is up to you and your responsibility. It's not mine. I've done my responsibility. Before I even speak, I've taken that responsibility. I've looked at where I'm coming from and my agenda, because there's always an agenda, always. It could be a good agenda, like for the highest, best interest. Now, saying it that way, we can think we're doing it from the highest, best interest for someone else, but it's really arrogance because I think I know better. And I need to tell you, because I know. And you need to know that I know. It's so tricky. What's going on here?
Yeah, and especially with coaching and with the community that we've built, what we've realized is the importance of upfront, really clear communication, about our structures and our processes. Because, without that clarity, it can start to get into that territory that you're talking about, where it's like,
we're in that
really,
territory all the time.
It's like really fuzzy and really like, and then the emotional defenses can come up, because people are their protection mechanism comes up, because of course it does, because we're all protecting ourselves from pain, and so then there's like the mind takes over, and in the Gene Keys they call this the Eden loop between the mind, the shadows of the heart and the shadows of the mind. They just get going, and then it's really hard to get in there. But what you demonstrated when you actually shared what Don Miguel did with you is he just was so present, and I would call it fierce love.
Yeah, I call it ruthless.
Fierce love, like so present with you. Your soul has asked me to do this,
Yeah. But when it comes from that place, it feels different.
Yes.
You receive it differently because it's clean.
Yeah. And it's there's no distortion to it. It's like really, really, really pure, and like I would just say fierce. I feel like love and truth are so fierce. It's like such a blade and relentless.
That's through the bullshit.
And everything else. And I've been accused of being relentless and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just letting love come through me. I mean, like I said, I'm still accepting being a messenger. Being a messenger it's really hard work. From my human self is like, this shit is hard. And it's also glorious and it's beautiful and we're coming back home, right? And so I don't want to paint too much of a bad story about it because I do love it and sometimes I hate it. Let's just be real. I do both, love and hate it.
Yep.
All
Well,
of it.
for life, spirits, the essence of what you really are, it's not hard at all.
It's just hard down here on the timeline.
Yeah.
In the density, you know, in the body, in the freaking, river of time that we're doing here in this illusion. It's so real. It just feels so real. It's so palpable.
It is real for the human, Even if it's an illusion from a different perspective, it's real for the human. Again, if I break a bone, it's gonna be painful.
And do you feel like this is a little bit of a deeper dive in, but like when you said that the more that you've been in your body, I've had this experience, I felt similar to what you said, that the more embodied you are, the more you feel everything.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel that's true. It's like those, and it's what we've been talking about. It's like the more I realize how I defend, protect to try to not feel things, how I try to manipulate, architect, like you said, agendas so that I don't have to be with what is, and because I don't want to feel the rawness of that truth, then I feel the rawness of that truth. The more and more layers I strip away.
Yeah.
And isn't that like the space when you need the most support? Because a lot of people get to that place and go, well, I'm Lone Rangering it. And I feel like that's the time we need community. That's the time that it would help us all to come together, actually, to be able to work together through the releasing of those layers of false, right? Those, and it is hard. It's really, really hard because, more of it comes up. What's your sense on that?
I feel it's more complex than yes or no.
Okay.
If you're in a journey of awakening and figuring out the different layers of yourself as the essence of your being, as a being, not just a human, the one thing you don't need is a distorted reflection.
Mm.
And most human beings have a lot of layers of beliefs and ideas and stories, and it's impossible to get a clean reflection. It's just impossible. You can be in your life experience, and in every interaction you have with a being, you can feel, where does this land in me? And is it true? Like, is this reflection even true? And learn from whatever you're finding in yourself, not what's going on out there, but where is it landing in me? And again, I would like to use Miguel as an example of how he, in all my time with him, and I lived with him, and I 24/7, and I had his reflection all the time. He rarely told me anything, but he reflected. So how I showed up came back. Really early on, long before I had a more close connection with him, he was moving from one house to the other, and I wanted to help him move. Oh, Miguel, can I help you move? No, thank you, honey. And then someone else walked up, and like right in the same moment, Miguel, how can I help you? Oh, come here to this time and this, that, and help me pack. Why is he saying yes to that person and no to me? And the human feelings of being rejected and unworthy, or whatever story that comes up in a situation like that. God knows I had tons of stories around that. And it was really uncomfortable, and I definitely felt rejected. But over time, looking at it, I realized that what I was asking for was not, my driving force, my agenda, my hidden agenda, hidden from me, Wasn't hidden from him. I was hiding it from myself. What I really wanted was to spend time with him. Because being in his presence, I was learning things. I wanted to spend time with him. I didn't say that. I didn't say, I want something from you. I would like to be able to spend time with you. That would have been self-awareness. Instead, I'd offered a gift that I thought, I want to help you, Miguel. But he knew I didn't want to help him. Of course, I was willing to help him, but that wasn't my agenda. So he said, no, thank you. Because I didn't have self-awareness. So that's how he would teach me 24/7. He would speak to what I really was saying, not what I thought I was saying. And life does that with us all the time, not individuals, because we're listening to the story. So most people would have said yes or no to me helping them, because that's what they hear. That's how we usually communicate. We communicate in the story, in our beliefs, in our distortions, in our unspoken or unrealized underlying agendas. That's where our communication usually is. But we all feel the other area. We might not be aware of it, but we feel it. So someone is offering you a gift, but it might feel yucky or sticky, or it's like, no, I don't really want it. It sounds good, but it feels bad.
Right.
So his training with me was to become aware of that.
Yeah.
Through reflection. Only through reflection, never through the spoken word. I had to figure it out. And we can all do that in the world all the time. What is showing up in my life? And if this is showing up, what's going on here? For that to be my reflection. Because you're a tuning fork. We're all tuning forks. So I'm vibrating a certain way, and life will respond. It will bring the events, the people, the circumstances that you are asking for through your vibration. Not what you're thinking you're asking for, not what your affirmations and this and that. They may work, they may not. They will only work if they're aligned with what's really going on.
Yeah, we'll only come in when you're aligned to the level of truth that calls that thing forward, like what you're actually, that desire in the heart is the inspiration to keep moving towards something, but the thing you're moving towards isn't like the actual, what you think it is. It's actually this underlying integrity of your being, I guess is one way to say it. Those lessons that we came here to learn and to be who we say we are. And that actually calls forward the medicine we need in order to get there. Yeah, the challenges.
Just take it to the human level. I totally agree with you. It's absolutely, I agree with you. But for someone who doesn't think like that, even if you just look at the human level, whatever's going on here, there's often a discrepancy what going on in the head with what's going on in the body and the vibration in the body.
Yeah, and there's no communicating that. So when I had a situation recently where I was guided by spirit. I was really very clear on why this was happening and the lesson that this person's learning. And I'm not here to teach that lesson. I'm just here to be the vehicle for, I think that's what you're saying. I thought I was here to teach it, but now I'm like, no, I wasn't. I was just here to take the action that would inspire, provoke that inner turmoil, to have that person really look at themselves and go, this is my initiation. Okay. But me coming and saying it isn't going to, it's not received, right? I'm realizing the limits to some things, like you said, the person needs to figure it out. Like it's just on every person to look inside and find it.
So do you have an example that you can think of where you are the receiver of something like that?
So many times. Yeah, where I've been like kind of up against this wall, and just wanting to move past the wall and through the wall. And that really, for me, it's mostly blocks because I'm a manifester. So I like the flow. And I'll just get up again. I'll be like, this block again. And I know the block is for me. And as I move through the block, right, as I move through my perception or whatever the block that I perceive blocking me is actually medicine for me. It's actually the way. But sometimes it still feels like a block. So there's been a lot of times where it's like that, you know? So I have to just keep moving with it.
If I could jump through the camera right now and be in your room and I would slap your face, what would happen?
I would go, I need to wake up. Shit. She needs to tell me something. I'm not getting it.
So most people would get really angry at me.
I don't, because I've already been through some of this.
I know. We know you have.
I would go, oh my God, Eva's like really wants to make a point with me. I'm so trapped in my story. Shit. Okay.
But that's the point of if something happens to me, Lyme disease. Oh my God, I was so victimized. Why me? And why this and why that? And God knows I had tons of training to not go there. I've had the best training ever. But the way it happened and the circumstances, and we talked about all of that before.
That's the other episode.
Yeah, that's a different episode. But when life brings you something like that, we always have a choice. I can take responsibility for how I receive this life event and how I meet this life event changes my experience of it. I have such a choice there. So let's take something more simple. You're gonna slap your face. If you jump in the camera and you slap my face, there is this moment of shock, obviously. It's like, whoa. And there's a surge of unfairness and maybe fear because you're being attacked. There's all these completely normal human.
Yeah, shock.
Yeah, all of that is coming up.
Maybe even shame, shame might come up like, oh, I must have really screwed up to get smacked,
Yeah, whatever's coming up. But usually the initial is in response to something external is coming and you're responding to the external. Normal, absolutely normal. That is something that's surging through my being if you come through and slap my face. And I can let that move through. I can be really aware that it's happening and I can feel it all. And my choice in that particular moment, before we go to the next level, is to grab onto it or not. If I grab onto the unfairness of you slapping my face, now I will become angry. I don't just have anger flaring up and moving in my being. I grab onto it. So instead of anger being present in my being, I now become angry.
Yes, I so get what you're talking about. Yes.
And the energy, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, our physicalness, the body, the mind, the emotion, that's like the gateway between the material world around us, the dream we live in, but the material world, earth, people, and spirit, what we really are. This human is the gateway, the vehicle we have to experience it all. It's meant to experience it all. We're not meant to awaken and not experience it. We're meant to experience it. Full out, full on. Anger, yes, it's part of it. Anger is part of it's beautiful. If you think of the white light being all colors, love is all the emotions, including anger. So you slap my face. Yes, I'm going to be angry. That's going to be my initial feeling that's surging through me. It feels unfair. Anger is arising. Hallelujah. It's powerful. It's intense. It's a fantastic feeling. The moment you grab onto it, it doesn't feel good any longer because now anger has control over you. Anger is running you.
Yeah, and that's
you stepped out of it.
That's what you just explained was like exactly my experience during this exchange. And so what I do is I start to breathe. Like I start moving the energy for myself. Like when I feel that, it's like, oh, there it is. I'm feeling, because I'm feeling a lot in the space, and I'm just breathing and I'm taking my breaths. I bring in a little tobacco, allowing this to be present, but not hold on to it. Because otherwise I want to hold on to it. I used to hold on to it all the time.
Is there when you're doing this tobacco and the breathing and all of that, is there a desire to dissolve the anger, remove the anger, fix the anger? Is there anything, is there an agenda?
An agenda. Yeah, I guess it's to not to hold on to it, because I have held on to things like that before. And when I did that, I would it would grow, it would get bigger, right? And I would wrap story around it. So if I get really big, because then I would tell a bunch of people. So my case was, I just wanted to, I felt it was present and just wanted to move it through. Okay, here it is. It's here.
I have another question.
Yeah.
If I have a can of
water. Yeah.
And I don't want it, do I need to do a practice to not pick it up, to not hold on to it?
Oh, you're saying that's engaging it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're putting all your attention on the anger, trying to not grab onto it. Is that not grabbing onto it?
That's a good point.
So you jump through, you slap me in the face. Whew. My body is going to experience all kinds of reactions. My being, my physical being, emotional, mental. I would have thoughts around it. I would have emotions around it. My body would respond. My human self would have all kinds of reactions to you coming through and slapping me in my face. It's an intense, beautiful experience. And if I don't do anything with that, it moves through me and it's gone. And then I have a choice. Why did you do that? What happened? Or look at myself. Wow, look at my own, look, something so insignificant arose all these things in me. What am I going to do with that? I can let it move through. I can grab onto it. I can slap you back. I can cut you out of my life. I have all kinds of choices, all kinds. But if I'm in this whirlwind of unresolved automatic reactions, my choices are probably going to be reactions as opposed to conscious actions.
Yeah.
And it's self-awareness. It's being able to just be with what is. I have this intense surge of reactive emotions, thoughts, and feelings in my body. What do I do with that? So instead of trying to, what I have learned works best for me at least, is to not try to avoid it in any way. Just be with it. Just really be with it. And explore what's going on in me. And usually now that's seconds, because it's such an insignificant event. It's different if it's just life-changing, something. The theory is the same. It's just more challenging for the human. But really being with whatever is coming up and then allowing it to have its course, like energy, emotions are energy in motion. They move. And they only get stuck in our beings if we hold them there. So the practice is being open and not a contraction, but staying expanded and open and explore from that place. The moment you contract, it's something else.
Yeah.
And that's the automatic feeling. Of course, the body is going to go like that. And I, consciousness, spirit, life that I am, I can tell my body, just open up. And it will respond to me. It responds to the world around us, and it responds to you, consciousness. And usually we are so driven by external circumstances because we're so not present with our consciousness, with our awareness. So there's nothing to counterbalance the normal reactions from the human. Those are normal. It's designed to do that. That's how we survive. You know, if someone comes at you with a knife, you will be afraid. Of course, that's survival mechanism. Of course, you should be afraid. That said, you can have consciousness, self-awareness guiding you from inside to counterbalance. And that's exactly tying it back to what's going on in the world now. This whirlwind of change is happening. It's happening. Who's going to be responding to it? You're human or what you really are? Because you, what you really are, can really help your human navigate this. And you don't do that if you're being like all over the place and angry and afraid and this and that. Your spirit, your consciousness, your essence, truth, life is not reactive. It's not afraid. It knows this is divinely orchestrated. It's what we're all asking for. We want to live on this planet in a different way as humans. We all want that now. It's happening. So this is beautiful. It needs to happen. Will it be easy for my human? Maybe not, but I'm here. I can help her. And I will. I'm helping her. So when she gets afraid, I'm like, okay, let's sit down. Let's look at what's scaring you, what's going on, what's happening. And when I unpack it for myself, I'm fine. It's here. It's here. The world is not scaring me. I'm scaring me. Scary can happen. Yes, someone is coming at you with a knife. Scary. The moment that incident is over, most of us are still afraid. The incident is gone.
That's because it's in the body. The body is, you know.
In the mind as well.
Yeah.
Body, mind, depends on the circumstance.
The human part is needs recalibration and recentering and regrounding. And
if you're driving your car, for instance, I had that experience early on in my training with Miguel, and it changed everything for me. I was just driving traffic. Someone cut me off. And it's scary. I mean, our body is, and adrenaline is present, and fear is present, and the mind is, oh my God, this idiot, whatever.
anger,
Anger, for sure.
retribution.
Fear, all of that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing happened. There was no accident. The other car is gone, and I'm still in that energy. And I could feel my body relaxing. The animal creates adrenaline to be ready to take action in the moment of danger. Normal. The moment danger was gone, my body wanted to go back to normal. But my mind didn't.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And that was the first moment I was so acutely aware of the difference that my mind now was telling the story of, oh my God, this idiot. And I could see when light went up until that moment. And then you call your friends and you tell the story. And you could tell what, depending on the life event, you might be telling that story for decades.
I did that. I've done that. Yeah.
And the moment you tell that story, your body feels it again. You are creating suffering for yourself over and over and over and over for this one little event. Or huge event. It could be a huge event. It could be a rape or, something terrible. But it's over. It's not happening right now. I don't say to dismiss it or anything. No, of course not. But be really aware of how you talk about what has happened.
Yeah, because our words affect the waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meaning was the word you create with your words. So if depending on where you're coming from, again, comes back to your own hidden for yourself, hidden agenda. Why am I telling this story again?
Usually want sympathy or justice or,
Which is really just saying that I was wronged, which means you're making yourself a victim.
Right. When we're back on the triangle.
And how is that serving you? Is that
Doesn't.
serving you? No. Doesn't mean never talk about it, but how and where are you coming from? Why?
Yeah, I think the intent is what you're talking about. The intent to understand it and move through it and grow from it, or the agenda to
Well, it's both.
something there. Yeah.
Being really conscious and aware and taking responsibility for what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have the urge to let someone know that that wasn't right? God knows I have that. And sometimes I act on it when I shouldn't. Why do I have that urge? And is it really the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And is it serving everyone, not just me? Because if I feel that someone has done something wrong in a team, for instance, I feel very righteous that I should say that. It's not right. Really? And is that really serving the team? And if it does need to be communicated, is this the best way to communicate it? Making someone wrong? Is there a different way to talk about how the teamwork should be done that is not necessarily making someone wrong? All of that is just happening here, has nothing to do with anyone else. An event happened, yes. And I have an interpretation. I have my personal interpretation of that event and what that means. Is that true even? Or I should say, is it truth? Truth being something that is true for everyone always? Probably not. It's my personal truth. What gives me the right to impose that on someone else? Impose that on someone else. When you start looking here, it's really interesting. And a lot of that really came from my time with Miguel. I would bring something to him, and we lived as partners for a while, and years actually. And I would, in the beginning, I would, he's now my man, and something has happened, and I'm upset, or I have an opinion about something, and I would come to him with this, some sort of reaction around it. And he would just, honey, don't bring your drama to me. And again, it's the reflections. Okay, what's going on here in order for me to get that reflection? It was a tool, a strategy for me to look at myself instead of him. I felt he had done something wrong, and now I needed to think about it. And his reflection was, don't bring your stuff to me. Look at your stuff.
Yeah, look at your pain and your trigger and what's happening inside you.
Why do I feel I need to tell him that? Why? And I would say 95% of the time when I had looked here, I didn't need to talk with him, had nothing to do with him. It was all my stuff. And the 5% where I felt I still needed to talk with him, I would go back, but now I wasn't in reaction any longer. I had looked at my stuff. I had looked at the 95% of distorted, unhidden needs and desires and fears and all that stuff that's going on in all of us, in the physicalness, in the human. I had looked at that, and there was this piece left that actually had something to do with him and our relationship. So when I would come like that, he would be all there. Okay, let's sit down. How can I help you? Because now I wasn't unaware and I wasn't reactive. I had taken responsibility for myself first. And then I could bring it to the world.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a way of life, not just in a partnership, in a love relationship, but in any relationship, in relationship to a person, to an event, to a business, to what's going on in the world. look here first. What's going on in me? What stories am I starting to tell when I look at the politics and the wars and the weather and all the mainstream media and the not so mainstream media and all the opinions? What's going on here in response to all of that? And when I look here first and I sort through all the stuff that's just a reaction to someone's opinion, it's an opinion, it's not truth. This someone is saying is not true for everyone always, which means it's not true. Truth. It's a personal opinion. That's just a personal opinion. Why am I so upset about that? Why am I wasting my energy on reacting to that? I don't want to do that. But I would not be able to find that if I wasn't looking at me, if I was looking at that person saying this or that. Mm-hmm. All my thoughts would be there and I would be suffering. But because I'm looking here and I'm sorting through what's really, really going on here, I'm empowering myself to make a choice that's beneficial for this human being and the world.
Yep. Yeah, and you might get insights from that are really useful, right? Like there could be an insight that's like, hey, this is a message I just want to share that's so important, and this is what came through. Yeah, but then it's not even about the other person at all. It's not about the situation or who they are or whatever happened. It's about some transformation or some recognition you came in yourself, right? Like it's more clean that way.
Well, really what I want to convey is the importance to being aware of you. Not you in order to communicate as a channel or as an entrepreneur or a politician or CEO or cleaning lady or, not in order to do something out there. What I hear you talking about is you carry giving messages to the world, which is beautiful. But what I was talking about right now is just owning your stuff.
Yeah.
Regardless of the circumstance. So with your son or your partner or your channeling and messaging and coaching in relation to the election, in relation to the wars, and in relation to illness and weather and all of that, what's going on here. Really being with that, not trying to fix it, not trying to breathe through. There's nothing to go through. The moment you have the intention of moving through something, you're saying, I don't want to be here. This is wrong. Mm. Can you just be with it? Can you be with whatever it is? Just be with it. Not forever. Being with something, being with what is in this moment, accepting what is, being with what is in this very, like right this moment, doesn't mean not taking action to change it. But if you can start with being with what is in complete acceptance of what is, you're not taking action you're not taking action from a place of this is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you're not feeding it. You're bringing, instead of opposing war, you're bringing peace. But you can't bring peace if you're opposing war. You can't do both.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You can't oppose something and you can't oppose war and bring peace. You have to first be able to be with war. That war is present. Completely embrace that is truth. Somehow I, Eva, am co-creating war in this world, or I wouldn't be experiencing war. It's in my reality. So I am feeding war. I don't want to do that any longer. How can I how can I completely accept that this is part of God, part of perfection, part of what we have all created together. It is what is. It's here. It's present. It's happening. And I'm experiencing it, which means I'm part of it somehow. So finding, in this case, peace in myself, looking here, where am I at war? Is it with my neighbor maybe? Or like the example I was just making of making a coworker wrong because I think I know better. That's the energy of conflict. That's war. Where do I bring the energy of war in my own being? And by changing that, I'm bringing peace. It has to start here. I have to look here, accepting that war is present here, or I wouldn't be experiencing it. So war is present here. How? Taking responsibility for that, owning that. I am part of this. How? And little by little, shifting that as opposed to being in conflict with it, which is war. And when you're in conflict with anything, you're just feeding it. You're putting wood on the fire. This is really at the essence of how creation, we're all co-creating this reality all the time. And we it's so easy to talk about Putin is the big evil over there, or Putin is the savior because what he's doing is really, really because. All out there. What about me? What am I doing in all of this? How am I showing up? In all the little pieces of my life that goes like ripples out in eternity. That's where all my power is. All the power is here. And we waste it. We waste it. You slap me in the face and I'm wasting so much energy on reacting to that when I could be putting it to help hurricane victims. Or just be happy and go out and play with a dog. That would be much better use of the energy. Because if I'm happy and playing with a dog, that's the ripple effect I'm giving out in the world. As opposed to being angry because you slapped me in my face, and now that's the ripple effect that's going out into eternity. That's how powerful we all are. Every word, every action, every thought, everything, ripple, 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 ripple. To infinity and eternity. Don't waste it.
So powerful, Eva. Thank you.
You're it. You're the center of your universe. True for everyone out there. You're the center of your universe. What will ripple through your universe today?
Yeah. We have choice.
All the time, every moment.
What we want to create.
And joy, being in joy is, it's such a, life is so different when you can be in joy. Being in the energy of joy. And that can be present even with all this stuff going on. It's a choice. It doesn't mean you're ignoring the world or not taking it serious or not having compassion. How would you carry your suffering over everyone losing their homes in Florida? How will that help them?
Yeah. It doesn't. I mean,
no.
I think that's why I've been focused on sharing examples of people helping each other, because that feels more inspiring to me, that they're coming together as a community and that they're helping each other.
Yeah.
and that they're not arguing over small stuff. You know, they're like actually doing work to help each other. That's love in action.
Taking it back to you, as you're sitting on your couch, you're not communicating, you're not writing blog posts, you're not coaching, you're not interviewing anyone, you're sitting in your own couch and you're thinking about these people that just lost everything and their pain and suffering. If you, many people in that circumstance will then feel sadness and frustration and maybe anger and, feeling sorry for them. Not projecting anything on you, I'm just using you as an example. So sitting in the couch thinking about this, all of these emotions can come up naturally. It's horrendous, but it's not serving. It's not serving. I can think about this terrible circumstance and just have an open heart and feel so much compassion for these people, really loving them, like not in a I feel sorry for you way, but embracing them with all the power of my own joy and love. And then that ripples out and it will reach them energetically. When I sit in my couch and I feel sorry for them and I'm cringing and I'm angry and I'm fearful, that ripples out to them.
Yeah. And then looking, you know, I think to help us get there is to look for examples of people who are moving through it triumphantly. I mean, we have one of our speaker like a month ago, her whole house got destroyed. She's a Dharma teacher and she demonstrated how she moved through it with total presence. And, you know, I mean, it was amazing. It's very inspiring. And, you know, that was powerful for me to witness in her social media, her sharing how she's moving through this. Deborah Edental is her name, from about a month ago, you guys. Really powerful. So we can have examples that help lift us too into that state of being within ourselves. Because I think for me, it's like, if I can, like, you've been so generous with your time and with your presence and with your wisdom, that it definitely helps me to access that within myself. And then I can grow that. And I just encourage everybody here, you know, take these moments, these messages, these powerful insights and this energy within yourself. And it's in there. It's in there. We just have to find it, access it, and grow it within ourselves. We can grow that frequency.
It's a practice. I just really want to make clear that it's not about distancing or bypassing or any of that. Like, the pain is real. The events are happening and it's horrendous. And I can be present with all of those emotions in my being and still wrap it all in my own joy for life. Because that's still here. My joy for life is here. My love for humanity is very present. I don't have to discard that to be honoring the suffering of other people. I can bring that. So often when we talk about these things, it comes across, until you found it in yourself, it seems like you then have to just ignore the pain. No.
I don't think we can. At least I can't. I feel it, even if I'm
a lot of people
tuning into it mentally. I feel it. I feel it in my body. I feel the heaviness. So it's present.
Yeah, I think we can, though, Carrie. I think that's a practice we learned early in life, to avoid pain and suffering the best we can. I know I checked out. I lived up here. It was not in my body energetically, because if I went down there, it was painful. I would feel all the stuff going on. I didn't want to feel that, so I lived in my head. And being more embodied, like really being present in my body, I feel it.
Yeah.
If I put my attention on what's going on in Florida for so many people, I feel that. And if I get swept away by that, and I start feeling sorry for them or fearful for them or angry or whatever, it's not serving me and it's not serving them. So the way I used to do it when I first started to understand this, I would then distract myself with something that would shift my my own way of being so I could be happy. That was avoidance.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand that, but that was the best I could do because
That's okay. I mean, it's a process, right?
it's a
Journey.
process. So and you can do that. You can distract yourself from what's making you feel down and depressed and fearful and not capable of even moving in this world. Distract yourself with something that makes you inspired and happy and joyful. Because when you're in that energy, that's what you send out to the world. And that's also a better place for you to have a clear mind to make new choices. So don't stay in the muckiness. Shift yourself, even if it is a distraction, even if it is bypassing, you're still shifting your tuning fork. And by doing that, you're changing the world. And little by little, you can become more aware that you can be intensely present with physical pain or emotional pain or mental distortions. You can be so present with it, and you can be happy at the same time.
At the same time. Mm-hmm.
Not mutually exclusive at all. But it takes practice. It does.
For me, it's like learning how to be with both ands.
Yeah.
Everything happening at once and being okay with that. It's all happening at once. Yeah. Straddling the worlds.
Yeah. Just a final thought around that you, each one here, you, Carrie, Eva, everyone listening, you are the most powerful being in your life experience. You, not anyone else, no politicians or the weather or your spouse or your child, your boss. No, you decide how you're going to experience the life circumstances that are showing up. All your power is there. What is your choice with what is present? And when you start taking responsibility for that, your life will change.
Mm.
And not just your life, it will ripple to those around you. And depending on what your work is, it will ripple to the world. It always ripples to the world, but if you have an influential position in any way, the impact is greater. But the ripples are always coming from you, always. So what do you do with that? It starts with your choices in the moments will affect you, and then those around you, and then boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
It's
true.
Look here first.
Yeah. Looking inside, checking out what's going on inside you, inside of me. I'm looking at me. Everyone look at yourself. Go inside. We're co-creating this whole thing. So we all had a hand in saying yes to this war and yes to this tornado and yes to all this. So it's all
Sounds weird.
Yeah, we're learning from this a lot. So yeah, beautiful. Well, check out Eva's other 2 episodes. You guys will love it. Powerful wisdom coming from this woman, just in your life experience and everything you've moved yourself to experience and feel and be, and is a gift to us all. And I always love talking with you. And let's see, is there anything else you want to offer people? That was the last thing I needed to ask. Is there anything that you want to offer people as a way to get to know you? Besides, we already have the other episodes, but is there anything else that you want to invite them to?
I think you have my website, correct? And you can put that in the episode. And please just reach out. Reach out if there's anything you would like to talk about or struggle with. Reach out.
She's everywhere. She's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and her website, evacharlotte.com. So you can't miss her. And I'll see you again soon. And in the meantime, everybody, here comes energetic kisses, Reiki kisses coming your way. We just love you. Join me if you want to, Eva. We love you so much, you guys. Here comes a big wave of love through these kisses. Let's make some love ripples. Here they come, everybody. And we'll see you next time on Soul Nectar Show. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.
If you found even one gold nugget in this episode of Soul Nectar Show, will you do us a favor? Will you subscribe, like, and share this episode? Maybe even write a comment and let us know what you thought about it. We really, really want to engage with you at a much deeper level. Let's be part of community together. Have a great week, everyone. Bye for now. To dive in deeper to nourishing conversation, visit soulnectar.show.
Soul Nectar Show. Awaken, awake, Nectar Show. Take a sip from the drip of nectar, from the source of who you are. Soul Nectar Show. Yeah, yeah.